Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I'd like to do try and do a double feature review on. I like to do a double action figure review for this video because I feel like I gotta start speeding things up more and being more specific on where we need to go if we are to restore the Snyderverse and overcome what surprises lie ahead of us in the next matter of years, and how we can fight back against the machine that is making history repeat itself over in LA. Now, I gotta show you something. Tonight, we're gonna talk about Brainiac and Injustice and Silver Banshee from the Superman Batman Public Enemies movie. Excuse me for a moment, I'm gonna look for a card. All right, sorry I kept you waiting. I was looking for the card for Brainiac. Yeah, I was glad to get this guy from FYE and not have to order it on Amazon. Would have caused would have been a hassle to put up with Mom and my stepfather over, especially since I bought Silver Banshee. My stepdad was fuming when he found that I just ordered this in the mail last year or two, or three, whenever I picked it up. But I did it for a reason. I admire Silver Banshee ever since I've seen the news of Talia Ricci's casting as the character in 2015 in a crossover special that was released in 2016 of March, a day or couple after, right after the release of Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice to be exact. When I saw a picture of Silver Banshee, she was holding on to Supergirl's cape like she held a grudge or something, and that got my attention. Now, first off, we're going to do Brainiac first. From Injustice 2, of course. Brainiac, Injustice 2, data file, real name Viril Dox. Originally from the planet most frequently named Kalu, Brainiac's artificial mind and body have morphed several times over the decades, but his unquenchable thirst for absolute knowledge, regardless of the billions of innocent lives which might be destroyed in the process, has made him one of the deadliest villains in the universe has ever seen. Totally. For Brainiac, the knowledge he acquires is only valuable if he alone possesses it and no one else. Very true. Yeah. I don't understand why Warner Brothers can't get a grip and give us a live-action Superman movie with Brainiac in it. But it's really been a huge, irritating issue with WB. Even more so now that Zaslav came along 2 years ago to cause problems. Anyway, they've been holding him back. They've been holding back from bringing him onto the live-action big screen since 1981 and 1982, when they refused to go with a script that had him and Supergirl in it with Superman, and instead gave us comedic garbage. And they kept holding back on him from being seen in the live action fighting Superman since they got into fights with people pitching Superman movie projects with him and Superman, like Tim Burton, over a fight he had with McDonald's over his Batman Returns movie character toy promotion. Anyway, let's get back to business. As you can see here, Brainiac's got these metal and mechanical arms on his back, just like Doc Ock, which I find him really interesting. Not only is he super strong like Superman, but also these tentacles, really cool. Now, let's take a closer look at his head. Those things on his head, yeah, that makes him one of the most iconic villains. And boy, oh boy, does Warner Brothers really have too much of an evil habit repeating history, especially with 3 of the largest investment firms having so much control over it. We've really got to get which is more of a reason we got to get the Snyderverse restored and the entire DC print, or some of the most important IPs within the DC brand out of WB and keep them away from Disney and any other corporations who seek to do it more, just as much harm as we've seen going on at Marvel. Heck, WB has already done enough damage to the brand that there's no reason to allow Disney to get its hands on it. And we gotta lobby to keep Bob Iger and his top investors from thinking of buying out the IPs. We need to get the Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman IPs and all their solo movie rights and their characters over to Netflix and to other independent studios like Lionsgate, if it means getting back to where we left off on the Snyderverse and keeping these political animals from causing so much problems that I can't stand. Now, sorry, Brainiac is so interesting, such an interesting character, and I don't get why people aren't talking more about how frustrating it is for WB to keep holding back on him and constantly repeating 1978 with Lex Luthor over and over again. And I don't trust James Gunn. No matter what the rumors are, it's definitely going to be another parody and remake of the original in 78. And we need to remind our kids who are fans of Superman to why they can't just always trust what they see on the media and why they need to look towards questioning the studio as to why haven't we seen Brainiac yet? He's such an interesting character. And so far, they managed. David Goyer, writer of Man of Steel, was able to get the guy to appear in a live-action television series called Krypton. It's not the same, though, when there's no Superman Clark Kent to fight him. But hey, it's a start. And yeah, he's quite a complicated character. Definitely the kind of villain you would need supervision from legends like Michael Bay or James Cameron to manage if Snyder were to do a revived Man of Steel sequel and not keep putting up with so much goddamn interference from these arrogant, ego-driven narcissists who have so much control over our lives. But hey, now, see here? Yeah, quite a lot of details. These arms are just like you see from Doc Ock. Yeah, and take a closer look here. Quite interesting details. These arms were really tricky and a big pain to put on when I bought this thing. Man, look at these arms. And look at these legs. Quite silver detailed. Makes you wonder if we ever do get Man of Steel 2 that Zack should give his entire armor, make his armor black like we've seen from the animated Superman Unbound movie, which I do like to get, which I do love to purchase on DVD, by the way. In fact, Some of us folks should consider buying more products that feature Brainiac and other Superman villains who never had the chance to appear on the big screen, and not keep buying stuff that's so focused on Luthor and Zod. As well as setting up a major campaign to pressure these studios into not only restoring the Snyderverse, but to sell both the projects and the IPs to the 7 Justice League members over to Netflix and other places, as well as getting rid of BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, as well as their selfish ESG scores that they're using to make the studios double down on ruining our favorite brands. But man, take a look. When you put your phone close up to Brainiac like this, you're able to get a much more magnificent view. Close view. Look at that. The real docs. That's his real name is what they started out with when they introduced him in 1958. During the time the space wars between the US and the Soviet Union started. Yeah. Heck. I'm not even sure if that's part of the reason to why they keep avoiding this, why the executives keep avoiding him. But it does need to stop. Man, look at these dots on his chest over here. Very well detailed. And hold on. Let me just set this down. Reposition him. And there, articular. God, right now, each day I've been thinking of drawing a comic to share online with people to show that Brainiac is among victim of Warner Brothers interference. Yeah, some are going to wonder what the real mystery for the meddling is. Because of Russia, because the rich people who control running the shareholder firms are part of the WF could be actual aliens from outer space, or because they have too much of a freaking ego, or just that their ego's so stubbornly symbiotic to let go of, as well as being so obsessively holding on to so much. But I do know one thing: Brainiac is not a communist. He is not a product of communist propaganda. He never is. Heck. We definitely got to raise awareness of all of WB's wrongdoings and why we haven't gotten him in a live-action Superman movie yet. I sure as hell don't want them degrading Brainiac or making him look too completely different if we do. Nor would I want the same done to Superman or other major characters that haven't gotten the chance to rise and shine on the big screen. Still, look at these. They're not as bendy as Doc Ock, but Brainiac, on the other hand, he's definitely much like Doc Ock and Ultron combined. He is definitely alien. And believe me, if you ever want to get this kind of character onto the big screen, you ought to make sure you decentralize the movie industry of its authoritarian grip on people's projects, and as well as decentralize them on the rules and restrictions they have when it comes to AI and stuff, so that these programs that help develop scripts and CGI VFX effects don't end up becoming another obstacle. Because that's what concerns me too. Not just fear of nuclear war happening or the chances of Disney somehow jumping in on successfully getting away with buying off more brands to ruin and bastardize. One thing's for sure, this issue with corporate culture killing creativity in the movie industry, it all definitely started with Brainiac not being able to appear in Superman 3. Through the final phases of the screenplay development, in which he will, and I would love for Daniel Craig, Dave Bautista, Idris Elba, Matthew Allmark, or perhaps Ed Skrein to play Brainiac. Heck, I would definitely love to see Benedict Cumberbatch do this guy too. Who? Ralph Fiennes and Jude Law? I don't know. But I sure as hell would. Yeah, I'd make sure to protect the identity of these guys as well as the story, and make sure they make it onto the screen successfully at all costs. They've been holding back on him for more than 40 years now, and we definitely need to break that mold. And to do that, we do need to hold WB and other areas of Hollywood accountable. Because to me, the Warner Brothers has definitely, since 81 and 82, has become the new Jim Crow. And believe me, if any of you guys on the left who are identified as progressives understood how frustrating it is to have people's work undermined and rejected, you should ask yourselves, are you frustrated that you never got to see Brainiac in a live-action Superman movie to fight Superman as well as other supervillains? Well, I'm sure you'll find out, because I like to encourage others, including my fellow Snyder fans, to buy more products that revolve around Brainiac, including the comics. And also, I would like you guys to start buying many that revolve around Silver Banshee. Yeah, this supernatural, feminine, supervillainous anti-hero is something else. Yeah. Before I looked into the comics to learn about the character, I did find her terrifying and looked to her as some kind of force for evil. But when it came down to the comics, to reading the issues that had the picture of the character that I saw in the news about Otalia Ricci's casting as Silver Banshee, it helped me learn more, to understand characters, their growth, their development, and in which paths they choose, depending on what struggles they go through, and including hardships. I tell you, this one, supernatural. Now, just so we're aware, last year a new animated Superman series was released, and I did not like how they made her weak and less supernatural by making her an intergang tech user, which is so disgusting and lousy. An absolute downgrade compared to what we get from other shows and movies and stuff, as well as the games. I like her as a supernatural being. Heck, I became real impressed when they also reintroduced her in this 6th volume of Superman comics, where she is introduced as a girlfriend to Jimmy Olsen. And not only did they make her almost look like Anti-Venom with her new designs, but also making her stereotypes more Phantom Zone based as in having connections to the Phantom Zone and Krypton. From what I've seen happen in the comics recently. Heck, if we ever do restore the Snyderverse and Man of Steel 2, not only would I like to see Superman and Supergirl teaming up for the first time against Brainiac in live action, but also Silver Banshee. Her tragedy of what she went through does make her an interesting character, and because of what we've seen in Dawn of Justice and how she was reintroduced in the comics, I think they should definitely give her a shot. Hell, Zach should consider giving her, and our shareholders should get, and the shareholders would help us get the Snyderverse restored, should consider letting him use the new Volume 6 version of Silver Banshee to help make her more like a villain who appears as a response to the death of Jimmy Olsen. Because I know people were really angry that a popular, iconic character that people have known for over almost 90 years now have, well, been heartbroken to see die on screen. But if you don't take this, but here's the thing. Sometimes when you see something that from the comics that's interesting compared to what you're dealing with that frustrates you in the films, you gotta give what's new in the comics a try. Now, as for Banshee, now, her will-o-wisps. Now, hang on. Let me get this on here. See the art design for this character? On her shoulders are the will-o-wisps. I know they're not exactly like what we've seen from the animated movie Superman, Batman Public Enemies, which you see on the base plate she stands on below. But hey, at least it shows some interesting stuff. And take a look at the will-o-wisp markings on her thighs and her boots. Man, she would have been easy to do. And of course, because of Hollywood becoming more liberal with too much of the agenda, you'll never expect them to include a supernatural being whose stereotypes are so heavily tied to religion and rituals. But because I heard seen that they've reintroduced her as a Kryptonian-based Silver Banshee, or a Phantom Zone-Kryptonian stereotype-based Silver Banshee, they should definitely use that one. And I would love for Anne Hathaway to play Silver Banshee in the Snyderverse, since he's got the screams to do it. And I'm not kidding. I've been sharing these suggestions and fan casts with my fellow Snyder fans on Facebook as well. Yeah. It is quite creepy, but quite interesting. The collarbones, you can see the hair right in between her neck and the collar of her uniform. Wow, so much details. And let's take a look. Man, that hairstyle is quite funky. Even Scream from Venom and Spider-Man has the same kind of hairdo and style. And let us not forget, sorry, I'm trying to focus. Ah, well, those spooky skeleton earrings on her ears. Yeah, quite cool. She's also playable in one of the Injustice games. Mobile, I heard. And here's Brainiac. Man, these two. They are long overdue to make their appearance on the big screen in live action. And I encourage you all to buy more of these figures and the comics they appear in if we are to start making a serious response to Hollywood of what we want to see showing up on the big screen and not what we keep ending up with all the time. Because that's the main issue. We want the meddling to stop. We want the Snyderverse to continue, and we do not want these two characters being so deeply fundamentally changed and bastardized as we've seen going on over at Marvel and other portions of DC. And all other Hollywood brands too. Because right now I've heard that after playing Spider-Man 2, BlackRock, Vanguard, State Street, and their ESG DEI goons have infiltrated the video game industry. They're still good. Question is, how much longer before more of the deep seeds come out? Well, continue fighting for the restoration of the Snyderverse. Because we've really got so much more to go deep into of the DC lore in live action on the big screen, and we are not going to tolerate any more delays. Restore the Snyderverse. Make Man of Steel 2 in live action with Brainiac, Silver Banshee, Supergirl, and Superman. Make sure that they look that Brainiac looks like either exactly like this or with his armor being black while retaining this look. And for Silver Banshee, they're going to need to go with that Volume 6 version of her so that she can fit in adapt into the Snyderverse more effectively. And I would love for her to appear as both more of an anti-hero who is redeemed after her fight with Supergirl and becomes a member of Black Adam's fighting force, as shown from the Endless Winter comics. Thank you all. Be sure to buy these characters, restore the Snyderverse, and please help educate younger people into getting to understand what the Superman films really need. Because it's not about what we expect out of Superman. It's what kind of villains that haven't been used on live action that we want to see in live action, and we do not want AI or studio executives and corporate shareholders denying us of this chance of seeing them on the big screen ever again after we do get the Snyderverse back up. Make sure you fight to decentralize the film industry. And if either of you are from parties like Socialist Alternative or part of the unions in Hollywood, please help spread the word. Help us call out the studios for being polluted with repeat offenders. It is time to fight back and bring Hollywood back to its good old days of glory and respect and integrity, and decentralize so we can take back creativity and get these two onto the big screen in live action for Superman and Supergirl to fight at last. See ya. Hope you enjoyed my review.